On February 11th, 2022, this channel, PG Reviews, crossed the 1,000 subscriber milestone. I already sort of made a 1,000 subscriber video a few weeks ago. This is a follow-up to that video that aims to be more formal, structured better, and answer the Ask Me Anything questions I asked you all to leave for me in the comments since then. I'm going to save that part for the end though, because I like to keep you all in suspense. Thank you to everyone who participated, by the way, it means a lot. So before we get to the questions, I want to take some time to talk about the channel, how much it's grown since I started making content, and some updates and plans I want to share. First things first, I want to express my gratitude once again. Reaching 1,000 subscribers is something a lot of small creators such as myself dream of. The YouTube algorithm is very interesting, let's put it that way. I know a lot of channels, a lot of which that I just recently discovered, that I wholeheartedly believe deserve more than their current subscriber count and viewership. But it's not easy to get high metrics on this platform cause a lot of it depends on luck. What I do is nothing special, believe me. My inspirations are apparent even if you watch just a couple of my videos. I honestly think I just got lucky. I've only been uploading for about 8 months at this point, and for a channel like mine that just comes out of nowhere, to hit its first 1,000 subs in that short amount of time, it's something I can't possibly thank you all enough for. I'll forever be grateful to anyone who's ever taken the time to click on one of my videos. Even if they didn't have anything nice to say, hey, at the end of the day, it's engagement, so I'm not complaining. So the last time I made a proper video like this was when we hit 100 subs. The channel was in the middle of the Road to Metroid Dread retrospective when that happened, and you know how I said how I feel success on YouTube largely depends on luck? Well, Metroid is one thing I can definitively point to and say, yeah, this helped us grow way faster than I ever could have imagined. The hype for Dread was real. I mean, I don't know if or when I'll put out a video that surpasses the Dread reviews view count. It's sitting at around 20k at the time of recording this, which is insane. The Metroid arc of this channel, certainly not the last one by the way, was a wild ride. Suddenly I felt this pressure that only got bigger the further along we got into the marathon and the more people started discovering the channel. One of those people was none other than Milton Gosti, aka the man behind another Metroid 2 remake. Not even 24 hours after I released the AM2R retrospective, he somehow found the video and left a heartfelt comment that triggered a whole slew of emotions within me. I tweeted about it on my personal Twitter account, and both the AM2R account and Mr. Gosti's personal account shared it. At that point I was like, oh my god, I'm famous. I'm kidding of course, but it was definitely a boost of confidence. This, along with the nice comments viewers were leaving on the videos, told me that I must be doing something right? Like I said, what I do is not revolutionary or game-changing by any stretch. I follow what I think is a pretty basic format to give my content appeal that extends beyond just some 21-year-old nerd who shares his opinions on video games for sake of discussion and maybe giving others something to relate to. Cause I'm no critic, I don't consider myself a critic. I make review style videos where I sometimes try to give a couple of quote-unquote objective critiques about the games I cover. At the end of the day though, I simply try to make my videos a more professional, for lack of a better term, version of a conversation I'd have with anybody about what we think about this game or that game. I don't write my videos with the mindset that my opinions are correct or that everybody has to agree with them. They're just opinions, and that's what I like about a lot of my favorite big YouTubers. You know, some call me Johnny, Scott the Woz, Antdude, just to name a few. I don't need some master's level thesis on Clu Clu Land to enjoy a YouTube video. Those are really impressive, but there's something cozy, something relaxing about just listening to someone talk about their thoughts on a topic you're also interested in. You watch enough of their videos and you start to understand their likes, their dislikes. They become someone more interesting to me than the basic definition of a critic or video essayist. They have a personality. And that's what I set out to do above everything else. Putting my own personality out there while also talking about stuff I'm interested in, because I've always liked doing that. I'm usually a very quiet person in real life, I keep to myself, but if you can get me to talk about something I really like, you won't be able to shut me the hell up. I didn't expect that tangent to go on as long as it did, so let me try to get back on track. So the channel experienced unprecedented growth during the Metroid boom, and that's when I decided I'm gonna keep this going at as regular of a pace as I can. Cause when I started the Metroid retrospective, I had no plans to continue making content after that. I was going to stop after making the Dread video. Not forever, mind you, it wouldn't be a definitive end. If I came up with another idea that I just had to make content about, then I'd do it, but I was going to take an indefinite break after Metroid. Those videos were a personal passion project first and foremost, born out of a desire to give YouTube a shot, and also my excitement for Dread, and I was just really excited for that game. I was gonna replay all the Metroid games anyway, and I thought it would be a fun idea to put my thoughts in video form. It wasn't until after I noticed that I was actually attracting a small audience that I shifted gears, and now this channel as a whole, like in its entirety, became the passion project. I'm not trying to have this come off as if I now see this channel as an obligation, don't get the wrong idea. I wouldn't still be doing this if I wasn't excited about it. I mean, I started thinking about all the other games I could talk about. There's a lot more games that I love other than Metroid, a lot more topics I can make videos on that don't necessarily have to be the usual review shtick. And with any luck, we'll keep growing slowly but surely while having fun at the same time. Because this is fun to me. I'm primarily self-taught when it comes to the whole YouTube thing, you know, editing videos, making thumbnails. I think that overall I'm still pretty amateurish, but what I've put out, and especially compared to how I started off, I think that I've come a long way, and I'm proud of what I've done so far. It can be a little stressful, not gonna lie, but honestly I have no one to blame but myself. I make my own deadlines, I decide what videos to make, but really the other 95% of the content creating process is definitely something I'd like to do for quite a while longer. I obviously can't see the future, but as of now, I don't have any plans of stopping anytime soon. Of course, I'm going to keep making retrospectives. That's like the main thing on this channel. I just started a new one about the Donkey Kong Country series, and I already have others in mind I'd like to do in the future. I won't reveal them all, of course, but I will share 2 of them. After we wrap up DKC, which I anticipate will happen at the latest in June if I upload 1 review per month. I'm trying to be generous here because this semester sucks. I have so much work to do, but that's a topic for some other time. After it's over, the next retrospective will either be of the Mother Trilogy or 3D Zelda. Mine is Skyward Sword because I already kind of made a video on that and my points will likely still stand, and I don't want to really redo it. I'm lazy. Which one I'll do first hinges entirely on Breath of the Wild 2's release date. It's a safe bet that E3 will be when we'll know when it's coming out. If it gets delayed, I'll tackle Mother first. If it's coming out anytime before the end of the year, then 3D Zelda will be first. Basically, I want to do a Road to Breath of the Wild 2 series because I think it would be fun examining the 3D Zeldas back to back and how they've evolved before playing and reviewing the newest one, like I did with Metroid Dread. Both of those retrospectives will definitely go on for a while. 3D Zelda games are not the shortest games out there, and neither are the Mother games. They're RPGs after all. I'm pretty much going to use the summer to get the next one ready, which includes playing through the games, the note-taking, the scripting, and of course actually making the videos. This is how I was able to upload the Metroid videos about every 2 weeks. I had almost all of them ready to go by the time the fall semester at my school was going to start again. So that's what I'm aiming to accomplish again to a certain extent, because Metroid games can be beaten in less than 3 hours most of the time. That also played a big part in how I got them done so quickly. Also, I'm hoping to land an internship this summer, but hopefully I'll still have more free time than I do during a regular school semester. But you know, these retrospectives require a lot of effort, a lot of preparation, a lot of editing. There's other stuff I want to make videos on but can't see myself dedicating as much time to as the full fat reviews. As a solution in these instances, I'll basically be making shorter, lower effort videos about that stuff. I've already experimented with it a bit. There was the wishlist video and the Nintendo Direct video. There was also the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack rant. But I also want to apply this to content on individual games. To give a specific example, Elden Ring just came out. It's a game I was quite excited for and would like to talk about, but I don't want to make a full review on it immediately. It's not something that I can see myself talking for 20 plus minutes about, because I like the Soul series, but not enough that I'm confident that I'll have a lot to say compared to other games that I really, really love. And if I did, it definitely wouldn't be anytime soon. And you know, there might be people out there who are wondering what I think about the newest games that are coming out. So for new games like that, the ones that I normally play on my free time, I'll try to put out first impressions videos. I won't require myself to actually play through the games all the way through. I'll discuss what I've played so far, what I've liked, what I haven't liked, things like that, in a more casual format. Like I said, I'll most likely do this for Elden Ring, because I'm just itching to play it. Most likely for Kirby in the Forgotten Land as well, the Mario Kart 8 DLC. It gives me a way to bring more variety to the channel while not having to worry about going all out for topics I only have a little to say about at the moment. And yeah, that does mean that the next video will likely not be the DKC2 review. It will likely be a first impressions look at Elden Ring. But hey, this means that you'll have to wait a lot less for the next video, because the DKC2 review definitely wasn't coming out in the next week, probably not even in the next 2 weeks. And if you can't give two shits about Elden Ring, well, I'm sorry. Still try to stop by to say hi at least? A lot of your guys' comments really make my day. With all that out of the way, I'll save my final thoughts and thanks till the very end. I've kept you waiting long enough. I'll be responding now to the lovely individuals who left questions for me in the last video. Without a script. I'm going in without having written down my answers, God help me. Don't worry though, I'm not half-assing it. I've already read the questions and thought of what I want to say. And it would more closely resemble us having a real conversation, and that would be pretty neat. Anyways, I'll meet you all back when it's done. Let's begin. Nintendo Hero asks, what are your top 3 favorite gaming franchises of all time? Alright, this is a good question. Number 1, Metroid. Definitely Metroid. It's pretty much the most consistent franchise that I've played. Almost every game in the series I'd give an 8 out of 10. Super Metroid is one of my favorite games of all time. It is as close to perfect as a video game can be. And other Metroid games, you know, like Metroid Dread, AM2R, Metroid Prime 2, those are so good. They are excellent Metroidvanias. They're excellent games in general, and I absolutely adore them. Really, only Metroid games I would consider to be either bad or just not my thing is the original Metroid on the NES, Metroid 2, Return of Samus on the Game Boy. That game, I don't know if I want to invoke its name. You probably know which one I'm talking about. Prime Hunters, only because, well, Prime Hunters and Prime Federation Force, I can't really form an opinion on because I've only played Prime Hunters for about an hour max, and Federation Force I haven't touched at all. But from what I've heard, the co-op is really good, so I'm sure I'd get some fun out of it if I can somehow find people who would want to play it with me someday. Don't know if that'll ever happen, but you never know. And then what else is left? Prime Pinball? I played it. It's pinball. I don't know if it really counts. It is fun from what I played. I mean, don't know how you could mess up pinball, but yeah, pretty much every Metroid game is amazing. I love it. So yeah, number 1 series. Number 2 has to be Final Fantasy. Definitely Final Fantasy. Not as consistent as Metroid, nowhere near as consistent as Metroid. I mean, after 10, I don't really have much experience with them, and with the ones that I do, I'm not really a big fan of. I also have not played 1 through 3. I'm strictly talking mainline games here though. There's a lot of side games and I'm not counting them here. But the games I have played, the majority of them are some of the best I've ever played. They're some of my favorite games of all time. Final Fantasy VI is pretty much a perfect RPG in my eyes. Final Fantasy VII was the first RPG I ever played, and putting my bias aside for a second, you know, looking at it now, it has aged. There are some things that are done better in other Final Fantasy games, but I still think it's really good. I don't think it's overrated at all, like how some have argued. I still think it is an excellent game. Just think that like Final Fantasy VI is a bit better. Same with Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX is so good. It's one of the best games on the PlayStation. It's probably my favorite PlayStation game. 7 and 9 pretty much tied for my favorite PlayStation game. 10 is also really, really good. Of the ones I've talked about, it's probably my least favorite one, but it's still a really, really good game. 14 is the elephant in the room. MMORPGs intimidate me. That might be a bit ironic, I guess, because I've heard that Xenoblade is very reminiscent of MMOs, but 14 scares me. I might try it out one day. Who knows? I'd probably try it out on PC. I don't really want to play an MMO on a console. Who knows when that'll happen? But yeah, third place will have to be Zelda. Zelda is just fantastic. The 3D Zelda games, I adore pretty much all of them. Majora's Mask is excellent. I think it is the best 3D Zelda game ever made. A Link Between Worlds deserves justice. It needs a remake on the Switch. I absolutely love A Link Between Worlds. I would love to make a video on it someday. There's Breath of the Wild. I have my issues with Breath of the Wild, but gosh, I cannot deny it is one hell of a video game. So yeah, thanks for the question. Looking forward to the Switch sports content, by the way. Master Gundam asks, I want to get a Switch. What games would you recommend to a person like me who really doesn't play Nintendo games like that? So the cool thing about Nintendo is that pretty much anyone can pick up a Nintendo game and play it and have fun with it. I think that it is accessible to all ages and also to all preferences because they tackle so many genres, and you're bound to find something that you'll like on the Switch. There's such a vast library of games. First off, Breath of the Wild. I mean, I know people who never played a Zelda game in their life and hardly played Nintendo games, but they played Breath of the Wild, and they played it even for more hours than I did. So that's like the go-to answer for this type of question. Breath of the Wild is just an amazing game, period. Not just an amazing Zelda game. So if you're interested in the Switch, that should definitely be one of, if not the first game you get for it. If you're looking for great multiplayer games, you know, there's Mario Kart and Smash Brothers. Mario Kart is really easy to pick up and play, and it's incredibly fun. It's an incredibly fun kart racer that really can appeal to anyone. Smash Brothers might be a bit more intimidating if you've never played a Smash Brothers game before. If you've played fighting games before, this is not really like a traditional fighting game. Once you get the hang of it, once you get the hang of the controls, there's honestly no other game like it. Well, nowadays there's a lot of games inspired by Smash Brothers, but what I mean is, you know, if you've played fighting games before, this is unlike any fighting type game you've ever played. If you play shooters, there's Splatoon, Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3. Aside from Mario Kart, they're probably the best online experience on the Switch. Don't quote me on that, but I had good experiences with Splatoon 2 online when I used to play it. So yeah, if you like pure action games, you know, there's Bayonetta, Astral Chain, Hyrule Warriors, third-party stuff. I mean, I'm not sure if you own other consoles, but if you don't, the third-party offerings on Switch aren't the best, but they are quite good for what's here. Like, there's Skyrim, Dark Souls is obviously very popular. Doom, not as good as the PC version, PS4, Xbox One version, but I have Doom on the Switch, and, you know, to be able to play a game of that quality on the go is something else. It's a very fun game. If you haven't played it and the only console option you have is a Switch, I would definitely go for it. And if one day you're in the mood of trying something out that's pure Nintendo, Mario Odyssey. It's a great game, 3D platformer, one of the best 3D platformers ever made. You should get it if you get a Switch. Next question, My Kinda Art asks, which Switch games are you waiting to play this year? Alright, so there's a few Switch games that I'm definitely waiting to get my hands on, and some others that I'm a bit more skeptical about. I'm waiting to see more. So I'll list the ones that I'm definitely going to get first, and then list the ones that I'm not so sure about second. First off, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Breath of the Wild 2, of course, assuming that does come out this year and it doesn't get delayed. Bayonetta 3. I really like both Bayonetta games. Bayonetta 3 has been in development for God knows how long. I want to get my hands on it ASAP. And of course, Xenoblade 3. Xenoblade 1 is my favorite game of all time. Doesn't matter what I think about the second game, I'm excited for Xenoblade 3. Now in the maybe category, Mario Strikers Battle League, I believe that's what the new one is called. It has been confirmed that Next Level Games is developing it. I definitely have a lot more hope for it now, more expectations for it, but I'm still gonna wait to see what others have to say about it, because recently the Mario Sports games have been pretty bad when it comes to player retention. Some people just pick up the games for a few weeks and then drop them like right away. Hopefully it's not the case for this game, but I'm gonna wait. Splatoon 3. Splatoon games, you know, they're really fun. It's just that I tend to drop them pretty quickly. Well, not pretty quickly, but... So the thing is, I'll play them for quite a lot of hours when they come out, but the thing is that Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 1 don't have a lot of content. They didn't have a lot of content when they came out, so I kind of missed out on a lot of the cool stuff that was added later on, but by that point I was already sort of done with the games. So Splatoon 3, if it launches with more content, I probably get it. If it doesn't, if anything, I'll wait for a price drop. Mergen C6 asks, do you have a really obscure game in your catalog that you would like to see getting a little bit more love? So here's the thing, I'm pretty boring when it comes to my gaming tastes and the games that I like. So I kind of play games that are mainstream, not really a lot of obscure gems. I'm pretty bad at that. I would like to change it, but there's just so many games coming out nowadays and so little time to play them. Inadvertently, I just tend to stick with what I know, what I'm pretty sure I'll end up enjoying. But I do have some answers. DuckTales Remastered. It's not really obscure, I would say, because quite a lot of people know about the original DuckTales. But DuckTales Remastered, I remember I got it on the Wii U eShop when it came out on that, and it was quite a surprise. It's surprisingly a lot better than I expected it to be. I thought it was just overhyped because, you know, it's a classic NES game, but it's really not. It has solid gameplay and solid level design, and it has an outstanding presentation. The hand-drawn art style is absolutely beautiful. There's also the SpongeBob movie game. Everyone always talks about SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and that's a great game. That's a great licensed game for the GameCube. Well, not just for the GameCube, it's also on PS2 and Xbox, but you know what I mean. But I grew up personally with the movie game. The SpongeBob movie, the first one, is to this day one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I love that movie to death, and of course I loved it as a kid, so I got the game based off of it, and it's pretty good. Battle for Bikini Bottom is obviously the one that everyone knows. I mean, it did get a remake after all, but the movie game definitely deserves a lot more love. I rarely ever hear people mention it when they talk about the good SpongeBob games, which in reality there's probably only two, the movie game and Battle for Bikini Bottom. But yeah, it's definitely a game that I would like to see more people talk about. Okay, so next question is from Oof. That's a great username. So Oof asks, what do you think of the Tales franchise if you ever played any of them? Unfortunately, I have not. So this is gonna be a bit short, but I can say that I have definitely heard of the Tales franchise. I mean, they're RPGs, right? I've heard of like Tales of Symphonia. I think the newest one is Tales of Arise. And I was pretty close to actually buying that one and making that my first Tales game, but I realized that I wouldn't really have that much time to play it when it came out, so I ended up skipping it. Thing is that I just wouldn't know where to start, so I actually have a question for you, Oof. If I were to start with a Tales game, which one would you recommend and why? Because I'm definitely interested in the series, you know, I like RPGs, I've seen a bit of gameplay of them, I like the art style, so I definitely wouldn't be opposed to checking them out. Alright, so we're about halfway done, I think. Next question is from Button Boy, and he asks, how do you feel up to speedrunning Metroid, for example? Or could you do a Pokemon Nuzlocke? Ah, 2 questions in one, you cheeky son of a... No, I'm just kidding. Don't take me seriously, I'm dumb. Good question, good questions. So I'll tackle the second one first because I have less to say about it. I used to like Pokemon, I guess you could say. I mean, I've really only gotten attached to Gen 2. I played Crystal on Game Boy Color, and I think that it's a really good game. It's a really good RPG. But I didn't really grow up with Pokemon. I didn't play it until I was a lot older. So I wouldn't really call myself a fan of the series, and the recent outings have definitely not grabbed my attention, except for Legends Arceus. But like the mainline games, like the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and what was the latest generation? Sword and Shield. They didn't do it for me. Just looking at them, I don't. They don't appeal to me that much, unfortunately. But and this is a big but, I do know about the Pokemon Nuzlocks, and I think the idea is really cool. It's something that if I ever do go back to Pokemon one day, it would definitely be for a Nuzlocke, and it would probably be Gen 2, whether it's the original Gen 2 or the Gen 2 remakes, because that's what I know best, and that's what I like the most, that's Pokemon related. Alright, and as for the speedrunning part of the question, casually, yeah, I wouldn't mind casually speedrunning Metroid or even other games, like some other games that I have a bit of speedrunning experience with are Super Mario 64, the 16-star category specifically, and the Resident Evil 2 remake. Those 3 games, Super Metroid, Resident Evil 2 remake, and Super Mario 64 16-star are the ones that I have put the most time in, like the most of my own time, to actually speedrunning, trying to reduce my times. But definitely nowhere near enough to be even remotely good or even close to good. So, if I do it, like if I do something on the channel, because I'm assuming that's what your question is about, maybe, I don't know, like something, maybe one day I can do a live stream, but that wouldn't be anytime soon. My internet is terrible. When I upload videos, I have to leave my laptop on overnight while it's uploading. It will literally take 12 hours to upload a 30-minute video. And if I were to do anything speedrunning related on this channel, it would definitely be through a live stream, because I think that is the best format for speedrunning. So I would feel up to it. If it's just casual, it wouldn't be anytime soon, because I would want to do it live, and my internet is crap. So yeah, sorry. Chocolate Cake asks, who's your favorite and least favorite animal buddy from the DKC trilogy? Favorite animal buddy is definitely Squitter. Spoiler for the DKC2 review, since that's not out yet, but Squitter is definitely the best animal buddy. I won't get too into it because I'm definitely going to talk about it more in the review. But I just like Squitter's attack. I like his special ability. It's great for exploration. It has great potential for finding hidden bonus rooms, and just a great extension of your normal abilities. I think of all the animal buddies, he does that the best, and that is why he's my favorite. Least favorite has to be Winky. He's just incredibly awkward to use. I never... If I can avoid using Winky, I will. I obviously had to use him for the review because I had to show him off, and I like to cover as much as I can in those videos. But Winky is just super slippery on the ground. I don't think that his added jump height is very beneficial, aside from getting to bonus rooms, and since this is the first DKC game, the bonus rooms aren't very important. There's not a lot of incentive to go after the bonus rooms, and I never fully complete that game when I go back to it. So yeah, Winky is definitely my least favorite. So yeah, hope you're enjoying the retrospective so far, by the way. I say so far, but there's only one video out. Look forward to the other ones. Alright. Next question. Raygun asks, what is your favorite console? Definitely the GameCube. The Game Boy Advance was the first console I ever played. It's where I played my first video game, but the GameCube was the first console I was able to call my own. My grandpa got it for me. I don't know if it was some sort of a special occasion. I don't know if it was my birthday, but it was around 2006, 2007. He got me a used GameCube from GameStop for $30. It was very cheap, and I still have it actually. I will include an image of it in the video. I've had this GameCube for like 15 years now, and I have so many memories with it. There's no other Nintendo consoles with such a variety of great Nintendo games from pretty much every Nintendo franchise you can think of. I mean, this was where the last console F-Zero game was, so let that speak for itself. You know, there was Star Fox Assault. That series is also kind of dead right now. But aside from those two, there's just so many other great games on this thing. There's Super Mario Sunshine. It may be my least favorite 3D Mario game, but I still think it's really good. Melee is probably the game that I have played the most out of any game ever. I mean, I used to play the ever-living hell out of Melee. It was like my proper introduction to the Smash series, and ever since then I've been a bona fide fan, and Melee is, to this day, still one of the best games in the series. I mean, there's also Wind Waker, there's Twilight Princess, Mario Kart Double Dash, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, more obscure games like Chibi Robo and Pikmin got their start here. Chibi Robo is dead, unfortunately. Pikmin might also be dead. Where the hell is Pikmin 4? There was the first two Metroid Prime games, Kirby Air Ride, even the third-party offerings. I mean, they weren't as good as on PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, but what was there? Resident Evil 4 was on here. The Resident Evil remake was on here. The re-releases of the Sonic Adventure games. There are just so many quality games on the GameCube, and that is why it is my favorite console. Alright, last question. Steven Draws asks, what's your favorite 3D platformer? So I'm going to answer this question technically twice, because there's two types of 3D platformers, and I don't feel right choosing my favorite overall between the two. There's the 3D platformers that are collectathons like Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, Hat in Time, and all those. And then there's the 3D platformers that they're more level-based, like the Mario Galaxy games and Crash Bandicoot. So for the less open 3D platformers, my favorite is Super Mario Galaxy 2. I like it more than Galaxy 1. I know that's kind of an unpopular opinion. I usually tend to see people prefer the first Galaxy over it, but keep in mind, it's not by a lot, so they're both pretty much the same game at the end of the day. Only reason I like Galaxy 2 more is because it's the one that I grew up with. I mean, I grew up with both of them, but Galaxy 2 was the first Galaxy game I got. Because I didn't get a Wii until 2010, and I knew that I wanted Super Mario Galaxy, so I went to the store to buy it, and then I noticed there was Super Mario Galaxy 2. And I didn't know about it because I didn't really follow gaming news yet at that time. I didn't follow it as much as I did pretty much the year after is when I started following gaming news. But yeah, I got Galaxy 2 instead because it was shiny and new and I hadn't really seen it before. And I absolutely love Galaxy 2. It has some of the best levels, not just in 3D platformers, but in any platformer ever. You know, the gameplay is great, the music is amazing, and it looks really nice. It's just an excellent, excellent game overall. And as for the 3D platformer collectathons, definitely Mario 64. I have so much respect for Mario 64, which is weird because I actually didn't grow up with Mario 64. I grew up with Sunshine. That was my first 3D Mario game since, you know, the GameCube was my my first real console. I didn't own an N64 back then, and Sunshine was my first taste at 3D Mario. That's pretty scary. I wouldn't come to play Mario 64 until I got it on the Wii Virtual Console, and when I did, it definitely took me some time to get used to the controls. They felt very antiquated compared to Sunshine and the Galaxy games, but when I finally got the hang of it and I got really invested into the game, I fell in love. Mario 64 is... There's this vibe to Mario 64 that has not been replicated in any other 3D Mario game, any other 3D platformer in general, at least to me. Not even Odyssey. Odyssey is pretty much the spiritual successor to 64, but it's still missing something. 64 is just a game with such good movement for its time. I mean, Odyssey has really good movement as well, but 64's movement is so good. It's so fun just to mess around in that game. Like a lot of times I would just boot up the game and mess around in the courtyard for like 20 minutes, and that's my idea of fun. I'm weird, I know, but it's true. Mario 64 is a game that's just fun to play. Like, I don't even have to do the objective. Just playing the game, the act of moving Mario, is unlike anything in any other 3D platformer I have ever played. It's so captivating. I don't know how to explain it exactly at the top of my head. 3D Mario is definitely a series. Well, it's not a series because it's all part of Mario, but you know what I mean. 3D Mario is definitely something that deserves its own retrospective series on this channel. So I'm not going to say too much more about my thoughts on 64 and Galaxy 2, but those are definitely my two favorite 3D platformers in both sides of how I divide 3D platformers. But yeah, 64 is excellent and so replayable, and I wouldn't trade it for any other 3D collectathon. To cap things off, thank you everyone for helping this channel grow as much as it has. Your support is very welcome and very appreciated. I promise if we ever reach, let's say, 10,000 subscribers one day, I'll say something nice about this thing. There's your incentive to spread the word. Joking aside, really, gracias. Muchas gracias. I didn't want to keep saying thank you, so Spanish it is. Until next time, as always, be safe, take care, hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.